Okay, here's our video on rounding decimals. So you should be familiar with rounding whole numbers. So we'll look at some terms. So it doesn't mean we're going to round numbers like if we had a number 7, it doesn't mean we're going to round it, make it a 9. No, nothing like that. So we need to know these terms, rounding up or round down. So let's look at an example. Let's say I had the number, well, let's write a number in a decimal. Let's say we had 3.7. Okay, so we know that this is, as a fraction, if you remember, 3 7/10. It's in the 10th place, right? So we want to know what number is this closest to, what integer. Remember, an integer is any number that's not a fraction or a decimal, a whole number. Integers can also be negative numbers. So let's look. Let's say I had we want to round this to the nearest whole number. So it's either going to be rounded to 3 or it's either going to be rounded to 4. So we have our choice, 3 or 4. Those are the whole numbers. And this falls in between that. So if we see we have we'll put a 0.1 here. Hold that down. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. We're going to run out of room. 0.6. Well, we ran out of room. Let's make a little. 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. And then you will have 4, right? Because there's no such thing as 0.10. So 0.7 is right here. It's a lot closer to 4. See how close 0.7 is to 4? It's far away from 3. So if I said round this to the nearest whole number, it would be 4. 3.7 would equal 4. And then we would round up. So we can either round up or round down. Let's do another example that's neater. Okay, let's say we had this one, 2.3. It says round to the nearest whole number. So again, I put the whole numbers here, 2 or 3. So let's do it smaller this time. We have a 0.1, so it's 2.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and then 3.0, right? That's right there. So where's 2.3? Right there. There's 2.3, and it's much closer to 2. It's only 1, 2, 3 away from 2. It's 7 away from 3. So here you would round down. 2.3 would be 2 to the nearest whole number. Okay, so here are our decimals. And remember, there's decimals that are all in the 10th place here. But remember, they can also be in the hundredth and thousandth and so forth. So let's say I had the number 3.4. So what are the two whole numbers that it's in between? So it's in between 3 over here, that over, and 4. 3 and 4. If you can see that. So what is it closer to? What do you think? Well, from 3, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 away. It's 4 away from 3, but it's 6 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away from 4. So it's much closer to 3. So 3.4, well, not much closer, but it's closer to 3. So you would round down. If I say round to the nearest whole number, you would get 3. And by now you might see that if it's less than 5, it's going to be rounded to the lower number. And if it's more than 5, it's going to be rounded to the bigger number. If it is 5, if it's right in the middle, we always round to the bigger number. Just remember, that's important to remember. So if I said 3.5 to the nearest whole number, you would say 4. So let's look at a few. So if I said 3.2, well, to the nearest whole number is 3. And 3.3 to the nearest whole number is 3. 3.5 to the nearest whole number would be 4. And 3.9, of course, would be 4. And there's no such thing as 3.10. It's actually 3.10. Right? And 3.10, that's just 3.1, which is rounded to 3. So after 3.9, it becomes 4.0, or just 4. So when you're looking at rounding up or rounding down, if I say round, the first thing you want to look for is what are you rounding to? Are you rounding to a whole number or to a decimal? Let's start with whole numbers again. So let's look at this. Round to the nearest whole number, 4.6. What do you think it is? What's it in between? So first tell me, what are the two numbers it's in between? Well, it's in between 4 and what else? 5. Now it's 0.6, so what is the nearest whole number? 5, because it's bigger than 0.5. If it was 0.5, it would still be 5. So the nearest whole number is 5. Now let's do one to the nearest tenth. So now you don't care about the whole number. You just care about what's in the 10th place. Okay, here's one to the nearest 10th. So what you do is, we want to find out, what are we rounding to first? Before we were rounding to the whole number. Now we're rounding to the 10th. So find the 10th. First thing, find the 10th place. We know it's 0.5. Then look to the left. Look to the left. There's a 6 there. Is it bigger than 5? Yes. Is it 5? Well, no, it's bigger than 5. So we know this is going to round up. This will round up. What do you think it will round up to? Okay, 3.6 to the nearest tenth. So if I asked you what it's in between 3.5 and 3.6. That's what it's in between. And it's closer because of the 6 to 3.6. Let's do one now to the nearest hundredth. So again, the first thing you do is find, what are we trying to round to? Find that first. The hundredth. There it is. So now we're going to say it's in between 3.92, or it could be 3.93. 92 or 93. That's the hundredth, right? So here's the 4. Always look to the left after you find the place. Is that greater than 5? Or is it 5? No, it's less than 5, so it'll be rounded to this, 3.92. So again, find the place, find the two numbers in between, and then you'll find what it's closest to. So let's see if you can do one now, round to the nearest thousandth. Okay, round to the nearest thousandth. Step 1, where's the thousandth? Right here. That's step 1. Step 2, look to the right. Look to the left. Look to the left. Look to the left. Look there. What do you see? If it's 4 or less, it rounds down. If it's 5 or more, it rounds up. So again, 4 or less, round down. 5 or more, round up. What's it in between? So we put every number to the thousandth place. So we have a 9.902, and what would the other number be? It'll be 9.903. Those are the two numbers in the thousandth. And what is it closest to? 4 or less, down. It's closest to this. So that's how you round. Takes a little patience and practice. So here's a tricky one. See if you can do this one last one. Round to the nearest whole number. The nearest whole number. Well, there is no whole number. Or is there? It's actually invisible, right? 0.49999 is 0.4999. You don't have to put the 0 there. It's there. Even if you don't put it, it's there. So the nearest whole number is 0. Or is it? So what are the numbers in between? It's 0 and 1. Remember, 0 is a whole number. It's not a natural number, but it's a whole number. So now look to the left. We don't care about any of these 9s. We just care about that 4. Is it 4 or less? Yes. So the nearest whole number is 0. It's very close to almost being 0.5. And then it would be closer to 1. But in this case, it's 0. So again, you find the place value where you're trying to round to, and then look to the left. That's what you do. That's rounding. Great job.